Just introduce the topics. For year one, we had pets are important to us, winning is everything, I can be like, and the most precious gift of all. So 1 minute, I'll pass it to Susanna.
Good afternoon, parents, teachers and fellow students. I strongly believe that the best gift of all is life. If life was not invented, you boys and girls would not be here. In fact, there would be no one here. No plants, birds, butterflies or humans. You boys and girls are very lucky that you are alive because now you can give the gift of life yourself. Giving life can be as simple as planting a tree, buying a puppy or helping to protect the environment. The gift of life is the best gift of all. I encourage you all to give that gift and you will see what I mean. I'm so happy to be alive. Thank you for listening to my speech. Fellow students, time stands still for no man. The most precious gift of all is time because you only have a set amount of it. You can make more money, but you can't make more time. When you give someone your time, you are giving them a portion of your life that you'll never get back. Your time is your life. That is why the greatest gift you can give someone is your time. Likewise, time is the most precious thing someone can give you. So it's about time we all recognize and share our most precious gift. So make the decision to use the time given to you wisely. So remember, time is precious, time is limited, time is elusive, and time is a gift. Thank you for listening to my speech. And fellow students, today I would like to tell you why I believe pets are important. Dogs can warn you of danger. They also can get your ball if it falls in the river, which is dangerous. Cats can get rid of mice for you if you have them around the house. Pet owners are less likely to get sick because their blood pressure is in the right place. Not too high or not too low, just in the right position. If it's too high, your head could explode. Kids with pets get outside more often to run and play. If you are blind, dogs can guide you. Have you ever seen a guide dog? They're incredible. Pets give you good company. Fish can help you relax and keep calm. If there were no pets, there would be a lot of unemployed vets. Finally, if there were no pets, I wouldn't be standing here today because my mum couldn't have moved to Australia and wouldn't have married my dad. Luckily, a pet food company needed her help to market cat food. And the rest is history. Thank you for listening to my speech. A world without cars. Cars have lots of good points about them. Cars can go wherever you want, whenever you want. Cars can get around quickly. They're just much more faster than walking. In some people's opinion, sometimes it's fun to drive a car. Cars also have many bad points about them. They create air and noise pollution. Cars can be dangerous. Car accidents could end up in injury or death. Roads also take up a lot of space, which means there is less space for homes and shops and stuff like that. One day, all the petrol and gas will be used up, so we will have to run on electric cars.
In a world without cars, all the problems with cars will go away, but also the benefits with cars will go away. What can we do to get rid of the problems but keep the benefits? We need to look for other alternatives. We could continue to use buses and trains, but in the future there might be different types of transport that are better than the types of transport we have now. People have lots of different ideas for future transport, but there's going to be no one alternative to replace cars. There might be different types of transport for long distances and for short distances. Some ideas for short distance transport in the future are slidewalks, which is a moving footpath which speeds up your walking and gets you to your destination much quicker. Maybe we could have podcars, which are small personal vehicles which are driven using GPS and computers. For travelling long distances, we could use some new types of high-speed trains that are being developed. One of them is called the maglev, which is a train that hovers with magnets. There's also one called the vac train, a train that travels in a vacuum tube. A world without cars will still be a long way away because cars still have many benefits that can't be easily replaced. In the meantime, we need to look for ways to get rid of the problems with cars. So, for example, there is less pollution and cars are safer. Thank you for listening.
Do you want to be? I want to be a bird. Wow, you think about it. Good morning, parents, teachers and fellow students. I would like to be a bird because they are fast, smart and some are pretty with beautiful singing voices. If I were a bird, I would laugh at all the passengers on the plane who have bought their tickets because I can fly anywhere for free. If I were a bird, I could see if magpies are swooping. I would stop them and say go away so that the people are safe. If I were a bird, I could see all the danger like bushfires and warn the people and show them to safety. If I were a bird, I would be the first one to arrive at school parties and playdates because I can fly without getting stuck in traffic. If I were a bird, I wouldn't fly to Miss Candelori's house because her dog Havana might chase me. I will only visit her when it's safe. There are lots of good things about being a bird, but there are bad things too, like I wouldn't be able to write without hands, and sometimes I might do a little poo on people's washing. If I were a bird, I would be a great lifeguard because I would not have to sit on a high chair. I could just fly over the beach and look out for people in trouble. Finally, boys and girls and teachers, I would like to thank you for listening. It would be great if you wanted to be a bird too and we could all fly together. Thank you for listening to my speech. Good morning, teachers, parents and students. If I were a writer, I'd need to find people to help me, like an editor, to fix the mistakes so I don't have to. I think that would be a good job for Dylan. An illustrator, to make it look pretty. I bet that would be a good job for Claudia. A publisher, to organize it, print it and turn it into a real book. I think that would be a good job for Scarlett. If I were a writer, I'd need a comfortable chair and a big desk, a bright light and perhaps a view, a laptop so I can actually write the book, and peace and quiet so I can concentrate and no brothers allowed. If I were a writer, I'd need to decide what I'd write about. What type of stories would I write? Magic stories like Catching Harry Potter? Mystical stories like Unicorn Riders? About war like this Once and Then? Or just crazy stories about kids like Horrid Henry, Emily Finger and Diary of a Wimpy Kid? What characters would I write about? Which people? What names? Where would my story be set? In Five Block, Meadowbank, Isley or Perisher, in Grey Street, Sabrina Street or even Isabella Street. When is it going to be? In the future, the present or the past? Has it actually happened or not? If I were a writer, I would like to make it my job to
to be famous, win prizes like the Miles Franklin Award and the Booker Prize. And I have heaps of reasons to stay in my PJs and read books all day.
Morning, teachers and fellow students. Imagine a world without cars. Let's look at the positives and negatives of a world without cars. The first positive would be how much money we would save by not having to buy a car or servicing a car. And imagine how much money we would save on petrol. Secondly, the air would be much cleaner and the world would be much healthier without cars. Thirdly, we would all be walking a lot more and that would be good for our own health. Now let's look at the negatives of a world without cars. Without cars, we would all be walking a lot more. We would have to go to the nearest bus stop or train stations if we needed to go places too far to walk. This would take up much more time of our lives and make our lives more stressful. Secondly, we would lose the freedom of packing a bag and driving somewhere for a holiday. Lastly, we would live more isolated lives and lose the joy of being spontaneous. Therefore, in my opinion, the world is a better place with cars. Cars give us freedom, make us happier, and connect us with people. Also, if the world had no cars, my father would be devastated because he really wants to buy a Ferrari. Thank you very much for listening to my speech and enjoy the rest of your day.
Teachers, parents and students, and I'm going to talk about There's No I in Team. There's no I in Team because one day on the 13th of the 9th of the 13th, Year 3-4 was playing baseball. And my team was working very hard to win. When it was time to swap, my team said, "Go David," and I was very happy. So I batted the ball so hard and I was safe. I ran again and again till I was home base. After that, my team was encouraging each other to win, so we tried and tried till we won the game. To be a team, you have to encourage each other, practice with each other, share tips, share roles, e.g. goalkeeper, and include everyone in a game. No one was fighting. We worked as a team and we were so happy. That was the best match ever. I strongly believe that there's no I in team. Thank you.
Teachers and fellow students of RBS. My name is Veronica Faruga and I'm here to talk to you today about a question we always ask. Are we there yet? Have you ever asked this question from the back seat of the car? Well, I have. Every time my family and I go on long trips and I feel like we have been driving for hours, I can't help it but to ask this question. Whenever we ask our parents this, they get annoyed because we seem to say it too many times. Even my mum has to ask my dad. When she doesn't know where we are, she doesn't need to ask every 5 minutes. Have you noticed that when we are unsure of where we are, the first thing that pops into our heads is that question? Thank you for listening to my speech.
Parents, students, teachers and friends. Today I would like to talk to you about consequences. Consequences are those little things, or big things, that will happen to you in life when you do something. For example, if I fell over right now, the consequence would be that I would hurt myself. If next year I get a very, very, very good mark, I will get onto year 5, which will be a very big achievement. Now, I think that consequences should always happen because when you fall over or do something else, there will always be a result. If you do something bad, you'll always get something bad in return. If you do something good, you'll get something good in return. I strongly believe that the biggest consequence in this very entire world is global warming. Global warming is when the radiation gets very, very, very high. When it gets very high, everything is melting like an ice cream. And it is very, very hot. That is why I think that you should stop using electricity and try to find other resources of energy that will power electronic devices. Now, I think that, in my opinion, you should always try to do something good because you will get the same in return. I do not want anyone to do something bad because they'll get the same bad thing in return. Thank you for listening to my speech. I hope you've had a good day.
Teachers, parents and students. Today I'm going to talk about consequences. A consequence is what happens when you do something. For example, if you are careless and spill a drink on your best shirt, you may stain it and your mum could get cross with you. Every action has consequence. Another example, if you have an important contract and you just think it's a piece of junk and throw it in the bin, you may lose your job and then have no money to spend. Most good actions have good consequences, and most bad actions have bad consequences. If you clean up your bedroom, you may get a new toy that you want, but if you mess up your bedroom, you may lose a toy that you like. Sometimes actions have unexpected consequences. Good intentions could lead to bad results. For example, canned toads were introduced to Australia, but then they became a pest. Luckily, crows have found out how to defeat them. In conclusion, we can all agree that consequences have results. Good actions and bad actions. Thank you for your attention, and I hope you enjoyed my speech.
Good afternoon, parents, friends, and students. Today I'm going to talk about the annoying question, are we there yet? Have you ever heard this annoying question being asked from the back seat of the car? Are we there yet? This can be one of the most annoying questions a child can ask a parent, caregiver, or anyone. When my family travelled to Canberra, I said, are we there yet? Many times. Also, when I travelled to Singapore, I also said, are we there yet? But she replied a few minutes later, in 3 hours. Another example was when I asked, when are we going to leave? The response was, in a couple of minutes. I got a bit impatient. Also, another example is when some nights come, I sometimes say, what's for dinner? My dad responds, pizza. In my opinion, however, the most annoying question a child can ask is, can I go to the toilet? Wait up! In conclusion, there are many annoying questions a child can ask a parent, caregiver, or anyone, and they can get very annoying. This is why you have to teach your child or children to be good and patient. But why do I have to go to bed? I'm bored. Come on! What? Why? I'm hungry. What do you think is the most annoying question? Thank you. Thank you for listening to my speech.
If I was a leader for a day, I would pick someone that is responsible and well known. Who better than the American president himself, Barack Obama? If I was him for a day, I would like to change the world for the better. The first thing I would do is to donate money to families, especially children, that are poor. I would also show how to start off their lives by getting a job or buying a house. I think that if Barack Obama did donate more money to the poor, not only their lives but our lives will change. I believe if they are not happy, we are not happy. Another thing I would do is ban guns. In America, anyone is free to have a gun, but I think that it should be like here in Australia, where you have to have a gun license. Imagine your child going into a supermarket and buying him or herself a gun. I think that even though it is good to have a gun for protection, you won't need to have it because guns will be banned. I would also lower politicians' salaries. You might be thinking, it doesn't matter to you, you're just a child. But if their salaries decrease, our parents would pay less tax, so then they can work less and spend more time with us, while having enough money to afford our basic necessities. Average parents work for about 5 or 6 days a week. If the taxes are lower, then our parents won't be as stressed and will have more fun times with us. My last point is that we focus on diseases and mental disabilities. We should be more aware of cancer, diabetes and other deadly diseases. People who have mental disabilities should be looked after by special carers. Our family is affected by this, as my dear, beautiful, darling brother Brando is affected by this. Not really. If I was to be Barack Obama, I would try my best to solve some of the global problems. I think with my decisions, everyone will be happy. Before we conclude, I would like to announce that we ban homework, or better yet, ban schools.
Real learning takes place when? Real learning takes place when you take in information, deeply understand it, and can apply it to different situations. An example of real learning is teaching someone to read, rather than asking them to recognize the image of particular words. Real learning gives people the tools and understanding of a subject that will stay with them for the rest of their life. Real learning is not just about remembering facts and figures, and also, real learning cannot take place when the student is not interested in the subject. Instead, real learning takes place when people are interested in a topic, they are motivated to learn about the topic, and they have a teacher who is passionate about the topic. Real learning should involve discussion, participation, example, and should not simply be a list of facts to remember for an exam, then forgotten. Real learning takes place when the student and the teacher work together and learn from each other about how to best apply the knowledge. From my personal experience, real learning happens when I have a clear mind, I'm able to concentrate fully, and I have a teacher who helps me understand the subject. For example, real learning takes place when you can take a lesson, learn about how to kick a soccer ball, and apply that to a game of soccer. Real learning also takes place when you can take a maths idea like calculating the area of a shape and applying that to a real-life example. Another time when real learning takes place is when you know when to apply certain knowledge to a given situation. In conclusion, I believe that real learning takes place when you experiment, test, apply, discuss, make mistakes, and persevere. Real learning is about applying knowledge to life and life to knowledge. Thank you for listening.
Good afternoon, parents, teachers and fellow students. Real learning takes place when you participate in life. Part of that is of course in the classroom, but I believe that most learning comes from relationships with others and your involvement in the world around you. Do you take notice, or do you just fumble through? Do you give it everything, or think this will do? I'm starting to sound like my mum, but I think I'm starting to understand now. Just don't tell her. There are many types of education, and having the skills to speak well, especially in Italian, read, write, and do mathematics are really important. It is like the glue that helps stick everything together. To what level you get with this learning makes a difference to your journey through life every day. Think about when you were a baby. You didn't learn to walk and talk from a book. In the beginning, you noticed the world around you and were encouraged by the people around you to crawl, stand, and then walk with a bit of falling in between. My mum and dad said I did a lot of falling and banging into things, but I kept getting up, and here I am speaking to you without falling down. I have learned a lot in Year 6 about the difference that experience makes as I get ready for high school. I am sad to be leaving the school that I've been part of since I was 4 years old, 8 years ago. But I have learnt that life changes. People have moved on, like my friend Antonella, who was at IBS until Year 3. I still keep in touch with her, by the way. Nothing stays the same, and if it did, it would soon become pretty boring, I think. I will go on to learn what it means to make new friends, as well as hopefully keep in touch with the friends I have here at IBS, as I am not going to the school that most of the class is. This sadness, but excitement that I'm feeling about starting a new time in my life, I don't think I would have understood if I had not experienced it like I am now. There is no way that a book or anyone telling me would have helped me understand those feelings. To conclude the speech, I would like to say that not all learning happens at school, but the learning you guys do get is really important. So sit up, take notice, and respect the teachers. Thank you.
What do you think being a student of IBS means to you? Well, that's what I'm going to talk to you about. From my perspective, being a student at IBS means many things. It means applying yourself to be the best you can in all aspects of life, taking pride in the school, always displaying a willingness to learn and develop, and most of all, it means being a role model that all can follow and aspire to become. Everyone would like to be able to say that they do all of these things, but it needs to be understood that you need to be committed and persevere, and in my opinion, that's what IBS is all about. Respect for self and others, understanding, a lifelong love of learning, the ability to think creatively, critically, and independently. This is what the school's core values promote. Let me explain in more detail. The first one means that students of IBS should respect themselves and other people, both their peers and their teachers. The second core value promotes understanding. Understanding is one of the key elements of learning and one of the basic levels of Bloom's taxonomy thinking. If you do not understand something, you can't learn it. And what's the point of going to school if you don't learn anything? But you might just come to see Mr. Jerry. Continuing down the list, we learn things every day. I'm sure that everyone here enjoys some form of learning. Whether it's maths or warball, you are still learning. But picture this, you hate learning new things. You absolutely loathe learning. If you had this attitude towards life, you would never actually learn. And I'm sure all the teachers would understand, learning is growth. Learning is maturity, and in life, that's what everything comes down to. The last value is probably the most complicated, thinking creatively, critically, and independently. You don't have to be an artist to think creatively, because it doesn't mean creatively in an artistic sense, but it means thinking outside the box, thinking a way no one else would, thinking almost uniquely, I guess. The next one is critically. When you think of the word critical, most people think of negativity and insults. But thinking critically isn't insulting something. It's thinking about ways something can improve, or constructive criticism. This area of thought is often used in self-assessment tasks and reflection tasks. Finally, independently. Yes, this is probably the simplest one, and it is quite self-explanatory. But it basically means that if you think independently, you don't need someone to lead you and ask questions to fire your thought, but you have the ability to do so yourself. Being a student of IBS means there are a lot of responsibilities. So I think now is the time for us students to go our own place and reflect on the way we demonstrate all these responsibilities. 8 years at this wonderful school have taught me many things, and it has now become my family. I hope this is the same experience for all of the students here and their families. Thank you.